What if the most powerful act of healing isn't fighting to change your life, but learning to accept exactly as it is? That was the hardest lesson I've ever had to learn. But honestly, it saved me. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to The Spiritual Crash. I am your host, Gethin Mayers, and today we're diving into something that changed my life more than anything else. And that is acceptance. Accepting who I am, accepting what I've lost, accepting my ADHD and dyslexia, accepting that some people won't change, accepting that my past is what it is, and that it doesn't define who I'm becoming. This episode isn't about perfection, it's about peace, and I'm going to speak from the heart the way I always do. So let's get into it. Let's start with accepting myself, because that was honestly the hardest part. For years, I carried shame around how I think and process the world. I've got ADHD, I've got dyslexia, and growing up, I didn't feel smart. I felt different. I struggled with focus, organization, reading. I'd forget things. I'd space out. And the world around me didn't really understand that. I started labeling myself in my own head. Lazy, stupid, all the things that don't even belong to me. But as I got older and started to understand my brain, I realized none of that shame was mine. It was conditioning. My mind isn't broken. It's different. And different doesn't mean less. ADHD brings creativity. Dyslexia brings unique ways of seeing the world. But none of that came to light until I accepted it. When I stopped trying to fix myself and started learning how I actually work, I started thriving. And now I can say this with honesty. I'm not here in spite of my ADHD and dyslexia. I'm here because I learned to work with them, accept against them. So I accepted them for what they are. So then I had to learn how to accept my injury, where I'd never play rugby again. Then there's this injury. Rugby was my life. It gave me purpose, identity, direction. And one injury just flipped it all. I didn't want to believe it. I tried pushing through, tried convincing myself I'd bounce back. I went through denial. I grieved. I lost who I thought I was. But when the acceptance came, it was quiet. It was this moment of finally breathing again and thinking, okay, that part's over. So now what? That moment of letting go gave me space to start building a new version of me. And it led me here to deeper conversations, to spirituality, to real connection. That injury, it didn't break me. It cleared the path, which also, in hindsight, is quite crazy because that injury also caused me to become an alcoholic. I used to drink to shut off everything. I didn't want to feel the pain, the confusion, the frustration, trying to figure out who I was without rugby, without structure, living in a brain that never switches off. And alcohol, it gave me a shortcut until it started taking everything else. When I made the choice to stop drinking, I didn't just stop a habit. I faced myself. It wasn't easy. It wasn't neat. But with every sober morning, I felt more me, more clear, more grounded. And now I don't even see it as a restriction. I don't drink, full stop. That's just who I am. And the peace I found in that choice, there's no high that compares. And I just know that if I did have one more drink or one sip, I'd be back in the same place I was, in a slippery slope. And I don't want that. So I'm fighting every day to make sure that I don't end up back in that position where I am back drinking. Another layer of this has been accepting people. So it's mad how once you learn to accept one thing, all these other things just start to domino effect. Because from learning to accept myself, I started to learn how to accept other people. I used to exhaust myself trying to pull people up, trying to fix people, help them see things differently. But the truth is, not everyone wants to be saved. And it's not my job to save them. Some people stay stuck. Some people only come into your life to teach you something, not to stay. And the moment I stopped trying to change people and started accepting them for who they were, I felt lighter. It's not about cutting off people in anger. It's about walking away in peace when your energy is no longer respected. You can still love someone and let them go. And I know this is like me, all my channel is about is like helping people and stuff, but I'm not there physically making you change. I'm not that kind of person. I don't want you to change. But you got to change for yourself. And this is why I've learned to inspire people from acting on it myself, rather than trying to force people into change and telling them you have to do this or you have to do that, not accepting the way that they think. Now I'm very accepting to how people think. And if they want to change, absolutely amazing, because they're going to be changing for themselves. They're not going to be changing for other people. And this is what my whole channel's about. So don't get confused that it might sound like a selfish act there. But what I'm trying to say is I'm accepting people for who they are. And it's up to them if they want to change, not me. So there's no point me trying to make people change. So just to clear that up. So all of this, accepting myself, my injury, my sobriety, my brain, and the people around me, it's led me to something deeper. And that's trust. I look back now and realize that life wasn't punishing me. It was preparing me. All those moments I tried so hard to resist were actually redirections. The injury, the breakdowns, the disconnection, they were pulling me back into alignment. And I'm not saying I've got it all figured out, because let me tell you, I do not have it all figured out. But what I do know is every time I've surrendered, life has met me with something better than I was trying to force. I'm going to say that again. Every time I've surrendered, life has met me with something better than I was trying to force. That's what acceptance really is. It's not weakness. It's saying, I trust this moment enough to stop fighting it and to go with it. When you live from that space, you stop missing what's right in front of you. You're able to reflect. You're able to move forward. And it's crazy to think that all these things, the injury, the alcohol, the drinking, you know, the people I've lost, and now I'm so confident in myself. I'm so confident and believe in my own ability. And it's crazy to think that this has all come from when I was in a dark place. It's all come from the fact that I never used to accept myself, and I've learned how to accept myself. I got diagnosed with the dyslexia, with the ADHD. That opened up windows for me, even though I still didn't know it then. But when I got diagnosed, it lifted off this weight off my shoulder. It made sense why I was so different to everyone else, why I was who I am, because I've never really fitted in. And I found it really hard. I tried to force myself to like the things that other people liked. But I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And I just couldn't fit in. I couldn't get in the moment. I couldn't see things from other people. And I was such an angry person. And I think this is all boiling down to the fact I never used to accept myself. I never used to accept others, that other people were entitled to their own opinion. I never accepted the truth that my rugby career was over. You know, when I had the injury, I kept trying and just causing more injuries to myself. And there's so many other things that I've accepted. I've accepted the fact that you're not going to be able to please everyone. You're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. So you might as well just be yourself, because there is no way in the world that you can please everyone without being your authentic self, or unless there is hundreds of different copies of you around. And that was so powerful. And this is what I inspire to try and encourage people, is to say about the fact that you can be your authentic self and you'll attract the people, but it all starts with self-acceptance. It all starts with the fact that some things in life we haven't got no control over. The only thing in life you can control is your own emotions, your own responses, and your own actions. I can't control what other people are going to say, other people are going to do. I can't control external things in my life. I can't control it when a family member dies. I can't control it when a friend walks out on me or your partner cheats on you. I can't control any of that. But what I can control is how I react, how I feel the emotions, and I can accept it and then move forward with it. And it really does put it into perspective when you get this mindset that you're not accepted or you can't accept the fact, because I've been there, I've done it. And some things, they seem like a punishment. Some things were like, why would this happen to us? Why now out of all the times? But trust me, the universe got a plan. And sometimes we just got to accept the fact that the only things in our control is our emotions and stuff. So my best advice for you is to learn, why do you feel a certain way when certain things happen? Learn why these emotions come. Learn to accept to be your authentic self and be your authentic self. If someone's trying to change you, why are they trying to change you? Is it something you want to do for yourself, or do you want to change for other people? If you're trying to lose weight, for instance, are you doing it for yourself, or are you doing it with the approval of other people? Because I can tell you, if you're doing it for the approval of other people, you're not going to enjoy the process. You're going to do it for longer. You might even fall back. Once you've lost the weight, you might even fall back into it because you're not doing it for the right reasons. You're not doing it for you. And even though it's a very selfish concept, doing things for you, setting boundaries for yourself, if people challenge your boundaries, are they really the people that you want in your life? Just have a think of it. You know, have a think about it. Because I know for a fact that a lot of people, when you start setting boundaries and stuff like that, that you fall out with them, you lose them as friends. And a lot of people get paranoid about this. So we start to live for other people rather than living for ourselves. And that's very deep. It's very deep when you think about it, that we're with ourselves all the time. We're with ourselves 24/7. You don't get a break from your own head. So if you can't self-accept yourself when you're with them all the time and you're saying nasty things to yourself all the time, it's just not helping. So I've been doing a lot of reading on like books and stuff like that recently about mental health and the brain and habits. And a common thing that keeps coming up is, and it gets mentioned all the time, is you got to do things for yourself. You got to do things that make you happy, that you feel lines up with your morals, lines up with your authentic self. If you want to help people, that's absolutely fine. But it's more of the fact that you're helping them because it fills you up with joy. If it makes you feel good. Even though you get the bonus of helping people, and I'm sure other people are going to feel good when you're helping them, but we got to start being a little bit more selfish, and we got to learn a bit of self-acceptance so that we can accept who we are and who we're meant to be. Our past doesn't define us. It creates who we're meant to be. And I think that's really deep, that when you start thinking about it, because a lot of people I know, they want to change the past. I wanted to change the past loads back in the day. If I could go back in time and stop that injury from ever happening, would I do it? I don't know. I don't think I would. I don't think I would. I don't think I would stop it. Because I wouldn't be the person I am today. You know, like the old version of me who was holding on to the rugby and everything. Every single day I used to wake up, I used to be like, right, let's hope I can turn back time. Let's hope it was just a dream. And then I'd feel the pain in my ankle, or I'd look down and see the scar again in my ankle. That scar's never leaving me. You know, I had to have a screw put into my foot to hold my ankle into place. And yeah, that's going to be a constant reminder of the fact that I can't play rugby again. But rather than dwelling on it, I might as well just look at the positives. That if that ankle injury never happened, I never would have gone to uni with a cast on, dropped out, became an alcoholic, went to the opening night of the spiritual church with my mum, became a psychic medium full time, and now helping people for a living. Like, it's crazy how all that had to happen in order for me to be where I am now. And this is why I think self-acceptance and accepting things that are out of your control, just let them happen. Just let it happen. Because when we start worrying and filling our heads with the if, buts, and maybes, most of the time it's out of our control anyway. So all the if, buts, and maybes are just putting a damper in our brain. So I hope you think from it, and I hope that you can take something from my experience with it all. So wherever you are in your journey, whether you're trying to accept yourself, whether you're grieving a part of your past, whether you've got a loud brain like mine that doesn't follow the rules, I just want you to know it's okay to let go. You don't have to fight everything. You're allowed to accept what is, even when it's messy. And it doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're giving yourself permission to grow from the truth. That's where the peace is. That's where power is. So thank you all so much for listening to this episode of The Spiritual Crash. I just want to make sure that you know that you're not alone. Everything is how it's meant to be. And that sometimes in the darkest days, the most light gets created. Keep following the light. I'm proud of you. I believe in you. And if this episode resonated with you, send me a message. Comment down below. Let me know what you're learning to accept in your life right now. I'd love to connect with you properly. You've been listening to Spiritual Crash. I'm your host, Gethin Mayers. Stay kind. Stay grounded. And just remember, real freedom starts where resistance ends.